Hey folks, it's been a while, but welcome to another episode of Empower Apps. I got back from my wonderful trip to England and speaking and doing a workshop at Swiftcraft. I just recovered from a wonderful case of strep, but I am excited to be here to talk to you about what's new and what's been happening in the last 10 months. Obviously, the big thing in software development over the last 10 months has been AI, um, and AI dev tooling, angelic assisted development. So we'll definitely be talking about that today. But I want to start off by talking about my conferences this year. So that's essentially my plan for the summer is I just finished up Swiftcraft. That was wonderful. That was in Folkestone uh, back in May. I ran a 3-hour workshop on Swift automation. I'm hoping to continue posting blog posts, videos about that. If you've seen my work on Tourist and Mies, I go into details about how to set up a project there, and hopefully uh, that will be a start of a blog series I'll be doing. I'm working on a thing on Fastlane and Swift packages and CI, so be on the lookout for those. And then, of course, I did my talk on CloudKit for the server and specifically talking about Miskit, which we'll get into later. And I just had a really great experience. Kevin put on a great conference, and it was great to see folks like Giannis talk about Wendy OS and Daniel do his talk on Breathe, which, you know, nowadays I find this myself that I feel like my work is more focused. If I can find the article that I had read, but I find that my work is faster and more intense with AI. So, I really appreciated, pun intended, Daniel's breath of fresh air in regards to that and just taking breaks and things like that. Really great talks from Oliver Binns on foundation models, which I've just started playing around with. And I'm excited to see what more gets done next week at WWDC. And then Jan from the Apple Developer Academy in Naples, which is really cool. And stuff from Lucy the about enums, which I totally agree with. They'll hopefully share videos because there were some really good talks. I can't even go and list them all. But yeah, and then that was Swiftcraft, and then I'll be speaking in Grand Rapids this August 14th through 15th. I'll be speaking the 15th at Beer City Code. I'll be doing my Swift automation workshop, but as a talk. And then I'll also be talking about vibe coding and energetic software development there as well. So be on the lookout for that as well. If you're interested in getting a preview of that, I did that at the Boston and New York developer groups earlier this year. So I'll put a link to the Boston talk specifically so you can check that out. And then I will be in Wales this September to speak at iOS Dev UK, and there I will be giving my talk on CloudKit as the backend. So more stuff about Miskit. Um, so I'm excited for that as well. Just kind of want to give my brief views on AI because there's been a lot going on. I feel like we're sort of at a somewhat bubble phase with regards to it. Uh, I'm kind of hearing a lot more companies that are not really interested in getting you to spend as much on tokens as you used to. And I was pretty skeptical of it at first, just with being burnt on VR, NFTs, and crypto. Um, it felt like the latest new thing. But then as I started using ChatGPT in 22, I could see, yeah, this is actually really useful for things. And lately, I deep dive into it. A lot of my work over the last year has been all done through Claude Code. I'm starting to try to get more into codecs and other things I want to learn, like skills and agents and that kind of stuff. And I think where it really excels is a lot of boilerplate and tests and docs. If there's a pattern, existing pattern out there, it's pretty good at applying that to what you're doing. Uh, I think what's going to end up being a problem in the next couple of weeks is Apple is not going to have a lot of, well, Apple will have some example code, but the models at least won't be trained on it. So I think that's going to be a problem next week. We'll see if new APIs and various things are going to be available. I know it took me 6 months to teach it that macOS 26 and iOS 26 were actually real and released, but hopefully we don't run into that again with 27. We'll see. Um, but yeah, in my talk, I go over more stuff like power grabbing issues and misaligned testing and things like that. So we'll, yeah, we'll talk about that in a future video, hopefully. And you can also check my talk as well at your city code or check out the video I did at Boston. So when it comes to the Swift automation stuff, what I talk about there is kind of how we have this great AI tool available to us. And what I'm trying to set up now is a way to like automate a lot of the process that takes away from the creativity, I guess, and the coding of developing an app. Things like setting up your Xcode project, setting up your App Store Fastlane stuff so you can get a smooth delivery to the App Store, CI, your developer tools, etc., and having it easily replicatable, not only in CI, but for other developers on your team. One of the things I do is I've built, and I just released a new version, 1.5.5, I believe, of Swift build, which allows you to easily build a Swift package for any platform or OS. And that means for Vision OS, for Windows 2025, for Android, for Blossom, if you're doing web stuff, it does all that. And it makes it really easy for you to set up a Swift package CI for all those OSs. So yeah, I'm kind of working on that. That was basically the crux of my workshop, and it is what I'll be doing my blog series on, and hopefully we'll get some videos out on that as well. So yeah, that would be the Swift automation side of things as far as AI is concerned. And then as far as projects that I've been working on, so we've got packages. I jumped back into Mistkit. I did a whole talk about how I jumped back into it thanks to Claude Code and the Open API generator. Hopefully that'll come out, and then you probably see my blog post on that as well. But basically, the idea behind Mistkit is I've run into situations previously with Twitch. I had been doing some stuff where I was allowing you to link your Apple Watch to the website using CloudKit. And so I had to use Mistkit for the Vapor app to pull your Apple Watch essentially from that. And then that way your Apple Watch can easily authenticate and send health stats. So that was the private database, but then I've started more dabbling into the public database stuff. With Bushel, I want to move over all the restore images and that database to a public CloudKit database. And then that way there's a central repo where you can pull up all the versions of macOS that you can run in a Bushel VM. So I'm working on that. And there's another app I'm working on, if you've heard about, where I was going to have Mistkit use that to pull RSS feeds and store that in CloudKit. So there were a lot of things where CloudKit on the server made sense. And that's where Mistkit is. I'm like, I want to say there's a few things with zones I got to finish up and some stuff with sharing that I need to get into. I just added subscriptions and notifications, which is really sweet. So yeah, we talked about Swift build, syntax kit. I want to keep working on that. building a DSL for creating Swift code. It'll be really helpful for folks who are doing anything with macros because they can basically write Swift code using kind of like a Swift UI type syntax. I'm excited for that, and it's a really great way to experiment with AI and agentic coding. So, yeah, that's gonna be awesome. And then, uh, as far as apps, obviously, I'll keep working on Bushel. I'm working on some really cool stuff with guest tools and the thing with CloudKit, so that'll be moving along. And then I've run into an issue where there's some tools, agentic tools, where the tokens reset every month. So I've begun launched an app called Month Bar, which allows you to see how much is left in the month, and that way you can kind of gauge what type of model you want to use and whether you want to use a more high effort, expensive model or you want to use a cheaper model until your time is up and then start switching. So definitely check out Month Bar there. And then I am currently working on a watchOS app called At Least. Um, I do stuff like exercises or meditations where it's not really like I don't want to set a timer for when to stop. I want to set a timer for how long I want to do it for at least a certain amount of time. And so the idea would be is like I want to do like push-ups for a minute, but if I do more than a minute, like better for it, right? Or I don't want to do a meditation for 15 minutes, but at least 15 minutes. But if I go over, that's fine. If I go under, that's a problem. And so the idea behind it, at least, is it uses haptics to tap your wrist while you're active doing something. Um, and you could set how strong you want those taps are. And then the taps it'll stop tapping you when the timer is up. And then you can tap it on your wrist to stop the timer and it'll let you know if you're done or not, basically. So that is currently in test flight. So you can check that out. I'll post a link to the website. It's atleast.app and month bar is month.bar. Really memorable names for domains. So check that out. I'm looking forward to more testers and users of these apps and ideas. So let me know in the comments below or in the reviews or social media, whatever. So as far as like work right now, I am looking for new work. I am looking to help your team when it comes to Swift, Agentic development. It could be freelance, contract, part-time, full-time, dev relations, SDK work. Let me know. Reach out to me. I am available for that this summer. And then I'm going to be offering my time for free to folks who need help with their software development career, need some guidance or coaching. Or if you want some help with AI assisted development, automation, CI automation, Swift specific automation. Uh, yeah, let's chat. I am offering my time to you. It's 30-minute slots. I'll post a link to the consultation calendar through Zcal. It's zcal.co, leogdion/consultation. Or you could just email me, leo@brightdigit.com, or reach out to me on social. But if you want to get a slot, get them quickly because they're going to be going fast. So free 30-minute consultation, zcal.co/leodion/consultation. Last but not least, as far as podcasts, I'll be recording episodes at least this summer. With WWDC coming, I want to get those in. And I want to talk about what's new, and I want to talk about AI. I want to talk about what the future is Swift. So reach out to me if you're interested in coming on. I'd love to hear from you. The next episode will be the one with Giannis, which I'm recording tomorrow. So I'm excited to talk to Giannis. His stuff with Wendy OS is really interesting. I enjoyed his showcase, his, what do you call it? Workshop. So I'm really excited to check that out and talk about that on the podcast about Swift everywhere. So we did that episode with Mark on Android. So we'll be kind of expanding on that. And then I will be doing another episode with Peter next Monday, June 8th. We'll figure out a time, but basically another keynote and platform State of the Union discussion. If you're on Patreon, you can check out the live stream we'll be doing. We might even do it on YouTube for everybody else, so check that out for sure. And then I'm working on getting the newsletter back up, moving that from MailChimp to Button Down, which is going to be so much nicer. So if you're not a subscriber to the newsletter, I'll post a link in the notes, so check that out. And then I just want to thank everybody. First of all, my Patreon supporters, like Steve Lipton, who've really helped me a lot with everything, and that's been fantastic. But the folks on social media as well, who've been really encouraging. I love some of the stuff I've been putting out this year already. If you're not a Patreon supporter, definitely consider it, because more and more stuff is going to be going there. In early access to episodes, discussions, first access to stuff. So check that out. Subscribe to the newsletter, buttondown.com/breakdigit. Link again in the show notes. And then if you like my show, a review would be super helpful. Please leave a review in your podcast player, or subscribe. Like and subscribe, I believe, is what they say on YouTube. So that would be super helpful as well. Thank you again. I am glad to be back, and I'm looking forward to chatting with Giannis tomorrow and chatting with Peter next week. So subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to make sure you don't miss those. And then, follow me on social media at LeoGDion, at LeoGDion@c.im. My company is Bright Digit. Again, if you want to chat with me, I'm available. You can schedule time at zcal.co/LeoGDion/consultation. Thank you, everybody, and I look forward to talking again. Bye.